Hello everybody, my name is Mr. Hat, and today we're going over Leprechaun Back to the Hood, which came out in 2003 and is the last film of the series to star Warwick Davis as the Leprechaun. Just like the title suggests, this movie, once again, like the previous film, takes place in the Hood, which is a shame, especially knowing that this film's original setting was supposed to take place on a tropical island during spring break. Directors Saw 2, 3, and 4, Darren Lynn Bowman, or Boseman, however you say his name, he even wanted to make a sequel after this one where the Leprechaun would be in the Old West. So it would have been like a timepiece movie. And that would have been way more interesting than this being back in the ghetto again. But with that being said, this is actually surprisingly better than the last one. So let's get into it in this week's Horror Franchise Wednesday.
Leprechaun Back to the Hood.
As always, before we start our spoiler discussion with the pros and cons, let's give you the whole plot, shall we? We start with an illustrated prologue explaining new lore, then see a priest fighting the leprechaun, but what for? He stole the gold for a youth center, the location he'll never tell. He splashes the lep with clover water and banishes him to hell. The priest bleeds to death from a very fatal scratch. Then we flash forward 1 year and meet the dreadful cast. There's Lisa and Emily and this guy who's annoying. Their car breaks down and go see a clairvoyant. She tells them that they'll soon stumble upon treasure, but that they should leave it alone, cause it ain't worth the pleasure. Lisa strolls around the youth center, then falls into a hole, then comes across the treasure chest that the priest had once stole. They split 4 ways and shop with their new wealth. Then the leprechaun crashes the party, making drugs more dangerous to your health. The next day, the leprechaun attacks Emily, but she gets away, so the leprechaun goes after Lisa and kills her the same day. Jamie and Emily decide they should give the gold back, but Rory leaves with the gold cause he ain't down with that. Once again, the leprechaun attacks Emily, and just when he's about to strike, Rory comes back with a bat, saving her with his bike. They drive off and escape, but get pulled over by the cops. The leprechaun rips the police officer's leg off and watches as he hops. He then attacks them once again, close but no cigar, then catches up with them later using the leg to drive the car. The leprechaun kills Watson's gang for treating him like a punk. Then Emily and Roy drive away with the gold in the trunk. The leprechaun attaches himself to the car hanging underneath. They use the hydraulic system to bang him against the street. They get to Esmeralda's asking how the leprechaun should be fought. She tells them a 4-leaf clover, which just so happens to be in Jamie's pot. Rory then uses it to make clover-tipped bullets for his gun. The leprechaun arrives and the gypsy lady gives him time to run. Eventually the leprechaun catches up with them on the roof. He never will relent, until he's knocked off the roof and lands in a puddle of cement. And they live happily ever after. This one wasn't as bad as the last one. I actually had more enjoyment in this one. And I think it's because I went into it like just knowing I was going to hate it. So therefore I liked it a little bit more. This one's even shot a little bit better. So let's go over all the things that I like about this movie. First up, this is the first movie in this whole DVD pack that I have is a full screen. It's not widescreen. It's not little like in the little tiny box shit no more. It's full screen. It takes up my whole TV. Thank God, finally. I was wondering when I was going to get to one. The last one was the worst. I like that this movie introduces this new lore. I mean, try something different. We get this very sweet illustration prologue that explains that the leprechauns way back in the day, they used to guard the king's gold. And then one day the king dies, so all the leprechauns went away. But there was one leprechaun who was greedy and took the gold for himself and has been guarding it for thousands of years. I like that they bring back the original weakness of the clovers. I like that they actually use it a little bit in this movie. They don't explain how you gotta use the clovers. The guy uses like these clover-tipped bullets. He just cuts them up. This movie's corny. You can't take it serious. He cuts up the 4-leaf clover and he puts it on his bullets and he shoots them. And he keeps shooting them and these like yellow balls of light keep coming out of him, but then he just like sucks them back in. But I like that they at least try to use the 4-leaf clover as a weakness, but that doesn't even kill him. They don't kill him with 4-leaf clovers. They just throw him in cement. So that's a little bit of a letdown. I think the funniest thing about this movie is that we got this guy Jamie. He's that goofy character, and he says ninja instead of the N-word, and I thought that was hilarious. Like the way he uses it every now and then, and every time he uses it near somebody who doesn't know that he says that, they go what, and the other guy would be like, don't ask about it.
Yeah, like, what up, ninja? Oh, look at them ninjas over there.
And then this white guy comes in, he's like trying to like be cool. He's trying to like sound black, and he's like trying to like, you know, be awesome, and then he ends up dropping the N-bomb. So there are some funny moments in this movie. Moments like that, and moments like the leprechaun getting high as soon as he bumps into the first person he sees is a stoner just smoking pot out of a big ass bong, and the leprechaun partakes. He even gets the munchies, and he's trying to eat from this guy's fridge and gets knocked in the fridge. I noticed something that every single movie, I think, up to this point, maybe except for one, every movie the leprechaun loses an eyeball and then replaces it. It happens in this one too, so I just want to point that out. Another thing I just want to point out, this isn't a pro or con, this is the first time we get to see the leprechaun's feet. He's giving this woman a massage with his feet, and the makeup on his feet, it was very disgusting. If that's what they were going for, they did a good job. I was disgusted. We get a Shining reference in this movie. The leprechaun knocks a hole in the door, and he doesn't say it, here's the leprechaun, or whatever his name is. Does the leprechaun even have a name at this point? He's just the leprechaun. That's another thing I noticed. He doesn't even have a name. I like that this movie at least tries to have gore. The last one was like goreless, except for that one hole in the guy's chest. But this one actually has gore. Some of it's cut away. But for the most part, there's like a leg ripping, a jaw ripping. He gets the gold tooth from this woman and he rips her jaw off and just... You'll see the actual like ripping off. It's not like Hatchet 2 or anything. But we do get to see a bloody jaw on the ground. We get to see the guy's heart being punched out of his chest, like Jason Part 6, that type of shit. And Leprechaun holds the heart and it's beaten in his hand. We even get like a little homage to Jason Takes Manhattan, where the Leprechaun is fighting this guy, Watson, who's like a gangster slash mobster. He like collects money from people, like, you're in my territory. But he like makes him box himself out, just like Julius in Jason Takes Manhattan. I think that's what did they purposely rip that off, or was that an accident? It felt like a homage, because it almost felt the same, except they weren't on the roof or anything. But the guy just wears himself out, punching the leprechaun like 40 times, and then that's when he just takes the fatal punch to the chest and rips his heart out. And my last positive will be that there are... I thought this movie was kind of funny. There are some moments in this movie that actually made me laugh out loud. I like when Watson has that phone call, he interrupts the leprechaun. The leprechaun's about to go into speech, and then he gets cut short by a phone call. And he's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like that face Warwick makes. Which then he takes that phone later on and flirts with Watson's wife, who he killed. He killed Watson, and he's flirting with his wife later on.
You work out? You got a good body?
Yeah, I think I got a good body. Yeah.
How tall are you, sweetie?
How tall am I?
Uh-huh.
Well, about 3'6".
3'6".
There's just little moments in this movie that actually made me laugh. Like when they go to the gypsy's place, this clairvoyant, and she's busy with a client, but they kick the client out, and he's like, well, what about my dead wife? And the guy's like, well, she'll still be dead tomorrow. Get the fuck out. Alright, now before we go into my negatives, let's go into my awards. The Clapper Award for Best Scene is gonna go to the street fight scene with Watson, where Watson basically keeps punching the leprechaun until he gets too tired, and the leprechaun finishes him with the final blow.
Fatality.
And the Hottest Chick Award is gonna go to Lisa. It's a shame she had to be the first of the friends to die, and the only of the main friends to die. I would have preferred Jamie instead of Lisa. That's a shame. First up, once again, no likable characters. I had a hard time remembering these people's names. They're not memorable. I don't know anything about them. They're just broke people who find the gold, and they just, that's it. Really, I can't tell you about these people. One works at a salon, one of them is gorgeous, and one of them's a dipshit, and one of them's a drug dealer slash ex-abusive boyfriend. There's not much going on. There's not much character development, except the one couple who hates each other at the beginning, they fall in love at the end because of everything they went through. That's it. These characters, I don't like them. They're stupid. It's just the dialogue, you know, it's just the way people talk in the ghetto. It rubs me the wrong way. I'm just like, oh, just shut up, stop talking. The way they talk is just like F words, every other fucking word. Just like me, I like to cuss a lot, but these people cuss more, and it's annoying. The way they talk, the jargon, I hate it. This movie isn't even a sequel. That's another thing I hate. It's like, this movie is called Back to the Hood. It doesn't just say Back to T-O, the Hood. Like implying that this is somehow a sequel to the last film, and it has nothing to do with that film. Which I like, but don't say to the hood like you do in the title. It's deceiving. It's not a sequel to shit. Once again, no continuity in this franchise. Zero. It's like every movie is like a reboot. Just Leprechaun 1, 1, 1, 1. They could all be called Leprechaun 1. or something like Leprechaun semicolon bullshit. Just make up a new title. They don't have to keep this number shit going on, because the number should imply that you're continuing from the story. But all these films have no continuity. And this is the first film that really fucks with the makeup continuity of the Leprechaun. He has a whole new outfit and getup. He has a whole new looking hat. There's like no buckle on it at all. No buckles on his shoes. He's got no like leg tights that he used to wear like the first few movies that were like striped. And this one he has like a fucking weird jacket. It looks more gothic. I don't know, it just looks weird. It looks stupid. It's not the same. His hair is extremely longer now. And his face makeup, it just looks like he's just aging. He's a lot older. Before he looked like an evil leprechaun, now he just looks like a fucking lump of muddy diarrhea. This movie, just like the last movie, has weird transitions. Like, it was made on Adobe Premiere. There's all these page peels transitions, which once you get to the end, you find out that the whole movie was like a book. It says like the end. It's like a closed book ending. So it's like, oh, that's why they had page peels, but it's just stupid. You don't need that. Once again, like the last movie, this movie has terrible, terrible songs played throughout, like rap songs, hip hop, and there's a few moments where there's like a song playing in the background, and you're like, why is that playing? It's just like these songs playing at all the wrong moments. It doesn't fit the mood, if there is any mood. And the first act of this movie is so goddamn boring, because these characters are boring. They just do random shit. I don't even know why they went to the clairvoyant in the first place. Their car broke down, and they're like, hey, let's go see this clairvoyant. No reason. And I like how when they go to the clairvoyant, she, like, fucks up on their name. She's like, hey, Linda. And she's like, no, my name's Emily. So it's like they're establishing right there that she's a terrible faux psychic. But then later on, she actually has fucking powers, and she lifts the leprechaun up off his feet with her powers, and then the leprechaun kills her with his stare. He just like stares at her with his red eyes, and then she dies off camera. Very lame. But I felt it very odd that they established that she was probably like this faux fake. Just, you know, that's what faux means, fake. It was like, she's fake. She doesn't even know that bitch, her name. She got it wrong. She's a fraud. And then later on, she's like, no, she's actually a real witch. You know, the leprechaun calls her a witch. And she's doing all this witchcraft, and she's lifting the leprechaun up. It's like, really? So now she's real? Like, she wasn't bullshitting. The leprechaun doesn't even rhyme in this movie, which is ironic because the whole soundtrack of this movie is hip-hop and rap. You would think he'd be rhyming at least. You know, I don't want him to do that rap like he did at the end of the first one. I just want him to do what he does in the first few movies, you know, rhyme. He hardly speaks at all in this movie. The only thing he ever says is, I want my goal, I want my goal, I want my goal. He's a fucking broken record in this movie. Something else I just want to point out, who the hell just leaves gold laying around? Once they get the treasure, you know, they start spending some of it, but a couple of them just leave their gold laying around for strangers to have. They throw a big-ass party, and you're just going to leave gold coins sitting on your dresser where you know people are in that room smoking bongs? You're an idiot. And I like how Jamie, the pot smoker in this movie, he buys 2 garbage bags filled with pot, gets arrested for it, and then is just out of jail the next day. I don't think we got an explanation, because when I was watching, I was like, wait, he's out? How did he get back? He was just arrested, now he's back. That was enough pot to send that guy to jail for the rest of his fucking life. Once again, the leprechaun teleports, which makes you ask questions throughout the film. When he's driving there, walking there, but then he's teleporting here and teleporting there. It's like, explain to me why he can't use it in this scene, but he can use it in that scene. It makes no sense. Here's another little thing I want to point out. There's one scene where Watson and the gang are messing with the leprechaun. If you pay attention, Jamie, the dumbass who should have been arrested, he keeps going from having glasses to not having glasses on his face. Like at the beginning scene, he doesn't, and then throughout most of it he does, and then once they get in the car he doesn't again. Just, I thought that was odd. Another thing I thought that was odd was the leprechaun sticks a baseball bat through Jamie's kneecap all the way through, like right in the knee. That guy's not walking the same ever again, right? Nope. At the end of the movie, like after they kill the leprechaun by throwing him in cement, which I thought was a stupid ass death, it's retarded, he's just playing basketball, walking around like he did not get a baseball bat shoved through his kneecap. Like, bullshit. And the last thing I want to talk about is that every death in this movie, despite how some of them might be gory, they're all the same. Every single kill is either a gut stab or just a neck snap. You know, I mean, the one chick gets her jaw ripped off, but that's off camera. So it's off camera, gut stabbings, and one chick gets her neck broken from the back in a weird way. But yeah, it's like the cop, gut stab. You know, Lisa, off camera, gut stab. Gut stab. The one guy at the beginning bleeds to death, and I didn't even see his wounds. It's like, what, he got cut that deep by the leprechaun? It's like, whatever. So all these deaths are just lame, really. I mean, you get to see a heart and a jaw, but that's it. It's not really that entertaining. The CGI and that guy's leg. It was cool that they ripped the guy's leg off, but then that makes me ask questions again, like, he keeps struggling with, like, Emily and Rory in these situations where it's like, well, damn, if he has that much strength to rip this person's leg off, why isn't he just knocking his fucking block off like Julius in part 8? Why isn't he doing that to these people? He can just rip them to pieces, apparently. So it's like, why isn't he taking advantage of this? It's stupid. All these movies keep doing this. But anyways, when he rips the cop's leg off, there's a horrible use of CGI blood spurting and a bone sticking out, and it just looks god-awful. They didn't need that. It was stupid. This movie wasn't too terrible, so I'll just say when it comes to the Leprechaun Back to the Hood, it's better than some of them, but still, at the end of the day, I can't recommend seeing this one. Unless you're like a Leprechaun fanatic, yeah, go ahead, watch it. But to me, this one was just wasted time. The Mr. Hadworth with best kill is gonna go to Watson, who gets his heart punched right out of his chest, and we get to see his heart beating in the leprechaun's hand. And the worst kill is gonna go to the fat chick Doria, whatever the hell her name was, at the salon, who gets her neck broken. Very, 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 very lame. And those are my thoughts on Leprechaun Back to the Hood. Do you like this one more than In the Hood? Which one do you like better? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Hit this like button to show me your support. And if you haven't subscribed yet, you can do so just by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds to see more. And until next time, I hope you to see.